Welcome to my unboxing and first look at the much awaited, finally, mechanical keyboard from Logitech in the G series. This is the G710 Plus. It uses Cherry MX Brown switches, which are a balance between sort of a tactile feel and quiet, which is a factor for your more mainstream customer. So the G710 Plus is almost that balanced approach between what the keyboard enthusiasts like, which tends to be your Cherry MX Blues, and what the sort of more mainstream customer would want, which is a keyboard that doesn't make a whole lot of noise. In fact, I have a new coworker who was looking at the Cherry MX Blue keyboard in my office, and he was like, oh yeah, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It's so loud. It's stupid. I'm like, well, no, it's a typing experience. And he's like, no, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. So going with something like MX Brown's may be a very good approach, although we'll have to try it to find out for sure. 110 key anti-ghosting, which means no matter what typing combinations you hit, you're not going to have any random keystrokes pop up. 26 key rollover, which means you can put both hands and your face all over the keyboard. It's going to register every stroke. Game/desktop mode, so that's probably basically just turning off the Windows button in all likelihood. Dedicated media controls. This is the kind of thing that a lot of mechanical keyboards don't have because they tend to be very basic designs, whereas Logitech, I'm expecting all the bells and whistles. Adjustable dual zone backlighting, so there's the rest of the keyboard and then there's just the WASD keys. 6 programmable G keys with 18 total functions. You have 3 memory keys for switching between different profiles. High speed, low noise, tactile switches for feedback you can feel, which is exactly what I spent the first part of the video saying. I am like super, super excited about this because if there's anyone who knows how to build input devices, it is Logitech. And if there's anyone who likes mechanical key switches, it is Slick, followed by me. I like them, but not quite as much as he does. I mean, he's like sitting over there, and I can see the drool coming out of the side of his mouth just looking at this keyboard because he walked in today and he saw the keyboard ready to be unboxed, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm not that excited about it because cherry brown switches, and he's a cherry blue guy. And then after like 5 minutes of we're talking about completely other unrelated things, he just kind of turns to me and he's like, yeah, I know, I'm really excited about this keyboard. You have to hurry up and unbox it. Yeah, he was trying to talk himself out of it because he knows he can't afford it right now. He's still in school, just like Diesel the intern, which is why it's hard for me to get any videos done because these guys' schedules are absolutely terrible and they're impossible to work with, both of them. I should just fire them both. No, yeah, I know, right? All right. So, like most Logitech keyboards, you actually get accessories included with it, like your wrist rest, whereas most of the sort of boutique-y brand mechanical keyboard guys don't include any extraneous stuff like wrist rests or keyboard backlights or fancy looking cables and all that kind of jazz. So we've got 2 USB plugs here. One is for the keyboard itself, and one is for probably a pass-through USB. Yeah. So that pass-through is up here at the top, so you plug that into your mouse, or you could not plug it into your mouse and you could just use it for like a USB key or whatever else because it'll be running at full USB 2 speed because it's just a pass-through and it's not an actual hub. Ooh, look at all the cable management options they've built into this. So you could have a wire running for your headset under here, through here, and then run that down to the back of your computer like that. So it actually comes out at sort of a sensible location instead of just draping over your keyboard. That's awesome. And all of the huge rubber non-slip pads on the bottom of this keyboard, these are very well built. These are very high quality rubber. Guaranteed they won't break and cause problems. Like your keyboard moving around. Also, you've got feet right here, which do not have rubber pads on them. Unfortunately, I've seen ones in the past that do, but these ones don't. However, it should still not go anywhere because of the rubber pads here and here that are still going to be down on the table. So you can either incline the keyboard or you cannot if you prefer more flat typing experience. There's some flex here in the wrist rest, so you don't have to worry too much about which way it's oriented or how flat the surface you have it on is. All right. You got your programmable G keys Oh, you know what? I've never actually typed on browns before. They're quiet, but they do have more feedback than blacks. I'll give them that. Not nearly as much as blues. I think I have a blue keyboard right here. Yeah. Here's a blue Philco right here. So for comparison, here's the sound. This is what I was talking about, where Logitech's probably going for a compromise between that kind of a click and that kind of a sound. So membrane keys are pretty much always quiet, but they also just, whoops, okay, well, we'll put that away for now. They also just feel so mushy, and you don't have that response, whereas these ones, you can feel after here. You got to get in really close for this. So you push it down a little bit, and the key hasn't registered yet. And right there, you can feel the mechanical switch. There's a pressure point there. So you don't actually have to bottom them out and mash them in order to type on browns. You can press them quite softly, and you'll still have a good typing experience, but it's not loud, and I'd have to sit and I'd have to actually use it for a long time to know for sure what I think. But let's go ahead and plug it into something so we can have a look at the backlight. Now, there's not many keyboards that I'd be considering proper gaming mechanical keyboards, but the Corsair K90 as well as the G710 Plus would be the ones that I'd say are more applicable. Now, K90 uses red switches. Red switches are very linear, so you know that sort of that buckling point that I showed you on the Logitech one? That doesn't exist on the Corsairs. You don't actually see where the key depress happens. Some people find this less helpful for typing, whereas on browns, you really do have a little bit more feedback coming into your hands on sort of what you're actually typing. Neither of them are as responsive, again, as blues, which I showed you before, but there aren't any sort of fully featured keyboards like this where you've got things like macro keys and a full software suite that goes with it that are mechanical keyboards. So this is what we've got to work with. Okay. Advantages, G710 Plus. Number one is these buttons and these buttons are all mechanical. On the Corsair keyboard, whoopsie daisies. On the Corsair keyboard, the programmable keys and the F keys as well as these keys are not mechanical. Okay, another kind of cool thing about the Logitech keyboard is the Corsair one has 3 brightness levels, 1, 2, 3, and it does get pretty bright. The Logitech one looks like it has 2, 3, 4 brightness levels, okay, white backlight. So it's up to you if you prefer white or blue. Personally, I prefer blue. You can switch between different profiles for the G keys here, so you can program 3 full sets of functions. I personally don't see much value to having this many programmable keys on the left of the keyboard because I'm not going to be able to reach them in the heat of battle anyway. This is probably a good balance. Okay, here, you can control the brightness of either just the WASDs or just the rest of the keyboard using 2 dedicated buttons up here. You've got built-in media control keys on both of them, built-in volume knobs on both of them. Those are both working just fine. Mute button, so they're very similar in terms of their features. It just comes down to, let's see, overall build quality. That's actually very good, wow. That's comparable to something like a Philco or a Ducky. There's no flex to this thing at all. That's outstanding. Although it doesn't have a metal backplane the same way that the K90 does. So the K90 does have a little bit less flex on the backplane, but the overall construction of this feels very good. Like, not quite, I don't think you could kill a man with it, but pretty darn close. Aesthetics of it are great. I think the orange accent here is outstanding. I wouldn't mind if this, instead of being a glossy black, was sort of a less glossy black. However, it doesn't seem to be too much of a grease or dust magnet so far. Just kind of sort of pick at it a little bit, see how gross it gets. And it looks like it cleans off pretty easily. There's a lot more to glossy finishes than just glossy or not glossy, and this appears to be a very high quality one. I think that pretty much covers everything that I can say about the G710 Plus. So, advantages for Logitech are going to be the cherry brown switches, are going to be their very mature software platform that they have for their gaming peripherals, as well as the fact that when it comes to true gaming keyboards, fully featured gaming keyboards out there's not a whole lot of choice for mechanical, and if I was going to pick one, I would definitely go with cherry browns over cherry reds. Thanks for checking out this unboxing and first look. Don't forget to subscribe for more unboxings, reviews, and other computer videos.